There we go. I had a conversation with a friend in America this morning, just after we got out of bed. And something stood out. I mentioned I was doing something that was like a charitable thing. And my American friend immediately came out with, I hope they're paying you for it. And it just about, I thought, yeah, that just about sums up the Americans, that. Everything's about money and lack of it, or wanting it, or it's always about money. And yet, this American friend, I've helped with some money occasionally, just a couple of times, when I've actually helped bail them out a bit. They've been a bit shit and a bit of a sticky program with financial system, and I've kind of like helped them just a tiny bit. And it's like, I thought, yeah, you're going on about that this charitable thing I'm doing, I'm going to get paid for it, me personally. And I thought, that just about sums it all up about America. World War One, World War Two. America showed up late for both of them. And yet here we are. When you think what's going on in the world and how it happens, you've got every major bloody conflict in the world since 1945 has been basically Moscow and Washington have controlled it. The last two World Wars, like World War II, the Lend-Lease system that the Americans introduced, and now everybody has ended up paying top dollar for munitions and God knows what else. They've ended up paying a hell of a lot of money. The Americans were the only people that made a bloody huge fortune out of the Second World War with the Lend-Lease. It wasn't until about the late 90s that the Britain paid off its debt. We've got the war going on in Ukraine, and immediately one of the first countries that stepped up and offered military assistance, and had done right back in 2014 when the Russians first invaded Crimea and decided that Crimea belonged to them, and the Ukrainians needed help. And the first country in the world to step up and say, okay, we'll give you a bit of help and help train the soldiers was the British. And I'm not saying it because I'm British, it's fact. It's documented fact is this. But they kept it quiet. And over 50,000 Russian soldiers have gone through the basic training as infantry soldiers, have gone through basic training and later on has gone to more specialised training. And it's been conducted in Britain. And it got me thinking, what have the Americans actually done? Apart from sell, like the munitions, for instance. How much weaponry has America sent to the Ukraine? I mean, I'm not talking about the figures that Trump comes up with, because he's a lying twat and he can't bloody tell the truth about anything. If he says the Americans have supplied 300 billion in munitions, I'll take a guess that it's about half that. Because Trump is a wazzock and he don't know what the fuck he's talking about half the time. But I know what Britain's done and what Britain's sent. And the Britain's basically gone into its storerooms and it's supplied Ukraine with 40 and 50-year-old equipment that the UK would have had to dispose of anyway. The Storm Shadow missiles we've sent them are about 40 years old on average. And munitions have a use-by date. You either use them or you take them out into a field and you blow them up. And that costs money. So it costs just as much to dispose of these munitions and these weapons and what have you than it does to actually build them in the first place. And it's a risky job. So Britain went through its warehouses, its munitions warehouses, and most of the European countries did. They had a look what they had that they could spare. Canada did the same. And just said to the Ukrainians, look, we've got to scrap it, you might as well scrap it on the Russians. Off you go, you can have it. But yet the Americans are bleating, Trump in particular, how much the Americans have given. America, it come to the conclusion this, Americans never do anything for nothing. There's always an edge. There's always something in it for them. Why am I doing this? It's what's it going to benefit me? Whereas everybody else in the humanitarian world just says, okay, we don't need it. It's surplus to requirement. It's going to go off. We have to dispose of it. You can have it. And they help them out. And this is this thing with this friend of mine, this American friend. I've bailed them out a couple of occasions. Her answer was, well, when I told her what I was doing, what me charity work was, or this thing I was going to do that was like a charity thing I was doing, was how much are they paying you? Meaning, how much are they paying me? And every time, Americans, it's like the relationship you have with people outside America is based on what's in it for the Americans. And yet this person, this friend, said, how much are they paying you? And I thought, yeah, the number of times I've helped this person out a couple of times with money. And this person, I know for a fact, they've got nothing. They're struggling financially, and that's why I've helped them out. I've helped them out. And yet, I can afford to give the money, but this person then comes and asks me, every time this person has a problem, a financial problem, they're asking me. And yet, this person has got money problems, and their whole attitude is, what's in it for me? That's the attitude I'm getting. I've got a friend in the Philippines. Philippines is a poor country, very poor. People are living in poverty. And yet, my Filipino friend, in the 5, 6 years I've been chatting with my Filipino friend, they have never once asked me for money. Not once. Not once has that person ever asked me for money. In any way, shape or form. Not once. And yet my American friend, virtually every conversation we have is about money. In some way, it comes into it. About, can you help me out? Can you do this? And it kind of like, it sums up America. The world's collapsing. Humanity is giving up. And all the Americans are bothered about is what's in it for America. It just about sums up the people of America. The stupid bastards that voted for Donald Trump. And I'm beginning to think, well, why am I even talking to Americans? They're obviously just a bunch of chiselers and gangsters. There's no... the way I can see it is now that America and Russia are basically one and the same kind of people. They're only interested in money. No matter what's going on in the world, if people are dying, they always find a reason to ask, what's in it? How much? What can I get out of this for me? I'm going to leave you with that little thought. I don't know who's going to see this video, who's going to see my talk here. I don't know what's going to happen there, or who's going to see it or anything. But it just, what the fuck's going on? We're in a shitty world at the moment. You've got a bloke bombing and killing women, children, civilians in Ukraine. It's called Vladimir Putin. And all the Americans are bothered about is, how much is America going to make out of this? How much is the Americans going to make out of it? That's all the Americans are bothered about. That's all. So, Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you have a prosperous and great 2026. I hope things buck up and everybody's happy. And good luck to you all.